Hey Adam, is going well. Enjoying evening night. Yeah. How about you?
Pretty good. Um, just been working on a bunch of like hardcover, like refactoring things that I've been excited to finally have time to do. So yeah, it feels fun to take on those like large projects that aren't going to be done in a day, but because of that, you'll be able to make like a big refactoring improvement on the code base. So that's been kind of fun.
Yeah, it's good. We do have a bunch of those in the pipeline. So today is us working on one of those, which is the list page. And yeah, I feel like we've got like a bunch of big projects happening at the same time, and it's been good that we got the results from the hardcover state of hardcover survey. So that's put a bit of clarity into what we should build next. And maybe today, apart from the list page, we can also briefly touch on what we're planning to do with those results. I feel like we had like a lot of good feedback from the readers on hardcover, and feedback for the top feature for the dashboard as well.
Yeah, I think one way I'm thinking about it right now is like um, we have the things we know about that we kind of just need to do, just like housekeeping and bugs and just general UI things, making the site faster, better, improving what we currently have. And then we have like from the survey, we kind of found out we have some like kind of easy wins, like things that we thought weren't going to be that big or that people weren't going to be that interested in, but now since people are interested in, we can probably do some of those pretty easily. And I'm thinking like the top two are like the dashboard and the like new releases, calendar notification, something to let you know about new books. And
Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, those are at least the two that stand out. And I like that the dashboard kind of ties in with some other things we've been talking about for like librarian tools as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think another thing that's very good is that some of the feedback we've been getting aligns with what we're going to talk about today, the new list page, because that's kind of pivotal to how we show books throughout the site. So nearly everywhere you see a collection of books in hardcover, somehow it's a list, and it uses display of a list. And historically, after the version one of the list page, then we had the air lists, which is the really highly functional version of lists that we tried to do to make a page that's more functional than the page of our any of our competitors network, and we kind of did that. But now I think using that list in various places on the website, some things stood out related to how it can work better, and that's kind of where we're at and why we want to improve it. And it's cool because improving it means that very you will see this on many parts of the site. Your want to read currently reading lists are list pages. Your lists are list pages. Other people's list pages. Yeah,
as
it's
well
all
as
lists.
as well as like the books you've read in a goal, the books on a prompt, the books in a series. Um, trying to think. Oh yeah, the books for an author. Like each of these is like a list of books, and yeah, I think what we've been trying to figure out is like right now on hardcover, because of the context and how these things are set up currently, um, they start from a different place. Like authors starts from an author, series starts from a series. Your books by status starts with a like a array of your books that you've saved. So it's it's been tricky for us to try to get uniform functionality when we're not talking about a uniform feature or like a starting point. So a lot of this feature I see as reimagining it as we have a set of books. What do we want to do with that set of books wherever we have it? And that becomes things like, um, yeah, like what stands out to you from that? Like what are the things that you've heard that people want to do with a set of books?
Well, we have a lot of power readers on hardcover, so that means a lot of books in a list or a lot of books in your want to read list that you want to organize. So, bulk editing is one thing people really wanted from lists. Imagine you have like a want to read list of a couple of thousand books. There are many readers who have those on hardcover, and you want to have control over it, but you want to also bulk edit it, and you want to do all sorts of things really easily. And yeah, that's like one big thing. Uh,
Yeah, bulk editing is a big one. Like I've been reading Invincible, the comic, catching up on it because the new season just came out on Amazon, and it's like I was trying to mark all of the single issues as read, and I'm on issue 52, and so to to mark 52 issues as read, I would need to like go to the book button, expand it, and click read, and then maybe give a rating for 52 issues. But I would
yeah.
love to be able to just like say, you know, select all, or maybe like select the first one, hold shift and select the 52nd one, and it selects all of
Hmm.
them between those two, and then
Yeah.
mark as read.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, more or less, it's got to like function like you're doing it in Finder or in Explorer, like kind of like on OS. And people have been requesting that, and I think it's definitely doable. And there's also the way you filter lists, which is kind of tricky. The thing with lists and the way they span throughout the website is the thing that's tricky is that they have to be really simple in some cases and very very complex in other cases where you want to control edit, but they have to be really simple when you just gotta have a glimpse at a list of books. Maybe it's just a shelf and you just want to see some covers and some titles. It can be just that. So that's the I guess the tricky part. And when you get to the more complex cases, how do you do that without like jamming everything in the same page and making it so that it's nice to watch, nice to edit, and also like really easy to get where you want. So
Yeah, yeah. There's
yeah.
so many different ways you can sort and filter a list. So yeah, it seems like the features we have right now for letterboxed or for letter lists or air
Hmm.
lists
Yeah.
are, so you can change the view of the list. So you can have it in shelf view, card view, or table view. So I think maybe like one of the questions I have is like, do we continue allowing that toggle between things in this list with those three options, or do we want to change that at all?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, um, if you'd want to basically shuffle books on a list really easily, uh, the shelf view I think is good for that if we implement the drag and reorder mechanism. Uh, the card view would be good for selecting a level of detail that's higher than the table view than just like viewing books one underneath the other. So that would make sense. And of course, there's the table view, which is like the default view. So I think every one of them has its purpose, but I think the table view stands out. So uh, if we were to keep a view, I think that would be it.
Yeah,
Um, I'm not
especially for
sure.
things like multi-select. I feel like table view works the best for multi-select.
Hmm. Yeah, it does. Also depends on, let's say you have a book, a list with 100 books. Dragging something from 99 to like the second position in a table view, it might require some scrolling and it might be like pretty shaky. So uh, if you'd have the same list and it would just show covers and we'd figure out a way to just like drag a cover from here to there, I think reordering would be cool if you just had like that shelf. Plus, to me the shelf view is interesting because it kind of mimics how you'd have the books in real life. So in real life, you wouldn't have like a table of books. You'd have like that shelf and for like display purposes I'd have it there somehow, but we can maybe decide like to not show it or to access it in some other way.
Yeah, yeah, I'm down to keep all three. I think I think one feature of our current setup that I'd be good cutting is right now you have the ability to change the size, and
Oh yeah.
maybe we just get rid of that and like we have one standard size for this is what a cover looks like. This is what, oh wow, it gives me a thumbs up in the video here when I
No.
gave a thumbs up.
Here we go.
Those like video effects I'm still getting used to when like a
Yeah.
video like jumps in and like, oh, this person's thumbing someone up, I'm gonna add that to the
Yeah.
video.
I don't even know how it happens. How did that happen? Did someone thumb you up in the chat or did it
No,
just like
I think it was just a Riverside thing.
okay, here we
Kind
go.
of
It
like
doesn't work for me. My thumbs up is not like it's not functional.
your thumb up's broken.
Yeah. Why is it not working?
but
Okay.
but yeah, having
Yeah.
like one standard size for each of those, I think that cuts it down from 9 potential ways of viewing it to 3. So
Yeah.
that'll make it significantly easier.
I definitely like it to be more opinionated
Yeah.
because customizability is good, but yeah, I feel those are extra. And it's better for us to design three good ways of showing them instead of having like nine ways that are pretty shaky in various cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could maybe jump into the design so everyone can see the actual like state it's in right now, and
Yeah.
yeah, maybe we can work on those.
Sounds
Should I
good.
share my screen?
Yeah. It's all in Figma, right?
Here we go. So just a second. Window. Okay. Abandoned designs. Share. Here we go.
Let's see.
Okay. You can see it, right?
Yes, I'm seeing the New York Times 50 best memoirs.
Yeah, that's it. So this is how we left it last time. We've put a few menus hidden and the things which were in tabs. Right now, we place them in various contextual like links over here. So uh, if you'd want to see the bookmarks, you'd see the readers that bookmarked it, and this is how it looked initially. You'd have these, but now it's cleaner. You don't have the
And
tabs.
I think one of the ideas was that like this area right here, um, like basically the books themselves and the headers above it, those are what we could reuse anywhere we show a list of books. So like
Hmm.
this part would be the same on a series page, although we might change what it means to be a, an individual card here for, or like a prompt one would have a little upvote. If it's somewhere else, it might have a different row here, but um, it's the same. This part's kind of the same across uh, all lists of books.
Yeah, the header might change various things like yeah, like you said, the upvote and downvote thing might change, but pretty much this is it. And the filters would be integrated somehow. I don't think we've settled because they were either filters that come in from the side and are different depending on what you click, or they were filters coming in from. Uh, oh no! So actually, this was the sorting, and so the sorting, because there are less options, would have been a drop down, and the filters would have been a side drawer that on mobile would turn into something like this.
Yes, that's right. I'm remembering this now. You know, we did this quite a few months ago, but I'm looking at it now and I still like it, which I think is a good sign.
Yeah. We didn't do too bad of a job, so
Yeah,
it's
like
good.
overall,
I think
yeah,
it's a good litmus test if you can come back to a design and yeah, just get what you were trying to do. So that's yeah,
yeah. Like I was a
I'm
bit I was a bit hesitant about or I guess the part that I'm most hesitant about this, but I still don't see a better solution for, is the filters pop up, because I feel like if we did that in some kind of drop down, then it becomes very difficult. Like currently we're doing it in that drop down, and it feels like you're like setting all these settings in this little programmable panel. Oh, I like typed like I was typing on a tiny keyboard, and all of a sudden in the video hearts came up for some reason. So it's the second time today. But yeah, it's difficult to kind of like use that, or imagining this whole sidebar that we have here in a drop down menu or a popover. So I still do think this is kind of our best option. And then in mobile, having it as this bottom drawer, yeah, I think it works on both.
yeah. I was looking at. I mean, I think our main inspiration was Letterboxd. I'd be curious how Letterboxd does it on desktop. So over
Oh
here,
yeah.
for filters and for sorting, they got way more options for sorting. Uh, they have this on desktop. It would be interesting to check out how they did it for the web app.
What uh
Um,
what they're doing on desktop is me. I'll jump to where you are and drop a screenshot here. Um,
okay.
it's uh it's a little different because they don't have as many filters on desktop as they do on mobile. So it's kind of
Mm.
interesting because their desktop app is very limited in what you can filter. So for instance, here I just dropped it.
Oh, here we go.
So you can
Oh, okay, yeah, I
you
remember
can
now.
you can only filter by release date, genre, and they have an option for service, which is like what, like if it's available on Netflix or Hulu or whatever.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that's
compared.
that's
Yeah,
really it.
yeah. That's weird. That's a weird like solution because on I mean look at this on mobile they have like
So
year,
many.
genre, country, language, released land.
Yeah. But
There's a whole bunch.
you can't filter by language on the website, for instance, but you can on mobile, which is it's
Yeah,
an interesting choice.
yeah, usually it's the other way around, but
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I'm guessing they have to separate like code bases and probably like maybe the mobile one is newer because I mean, even this drop down, it's pretty good, but it could have been better. I guess it's a long drop down.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
if we
it's
put all the
yeah,
genres and subgenres there, yeah, it would be never ending.
yeah, yeah. I think if we want to have more options, then yeah, having it here on the sidebar is good. I
Yeah.
was I was thinking about one other thing. Let me drop another screenshot next to the letterboxed one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so here is our current uh, search page, which has some parallels to what we're talking about right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I was about to mention the exact same thing that, we could put this somewhere as a sidebar. So yeah, it would basically, I mean, a crude version of it would be this. Or just like have it as a sidebar for the whole page, like we do on search. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like this first search because it allows you to quickly do things, but I think
Yeah.
the problem I'd have with it is that there's already like a lot of stuff going on over here. If we put a sidebar here, it would get like really, I mean, imagine have this
What if it were
and
like
this.
a what if it were like a collapsible sidebar? Like instead of it showing an overlay, like when you click on filters, instead of having it look like this, it more like looks like it expands it out and shows them here, but then you can hide them again.
That wouldn't be too bad. I mean,
Because
it's
then
kind
then
of
you
like,
could then you could like do a filter, see the results, do a filter, see the results, do a filter, see the results, without having to reopen the sidebar, without having to reopen the popover every time.
yeah, that's true. We could even like push the content. I've seen this done on a couple of apps where they have the collapsible sidebar, uh, and it's not just for over here. I'm a bit worried about like this will degrade very fast at lower resolutions. So an iPad will probably like jump pretty weird when
We'd probably have to
it
go
gets.
down to the drawer in iPad and lower.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it would. Maybe that would be better.
So this would only be for
Uh,
large screens and larger.
Maybe it could be just like something like this, and it comes from the side for the whole page, or over here. Yeah. Um,
I think I could see something like that. And I mean, I don't I don't love that it has to make everything else smaller for it to work. Because
uh
if,
huh.
if if you are building a table and the table has a lot of columns,
Uh huh.
I guess that's another thing to figure out for us is like right now for the air lists, you can select which columns you want to see. And I'm a I'm I'm like on the fence about that feature because it is really neat to be able to say like, oh, I want to see these specific columns of this table, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a little crazy how many things you can show.
Yeah. What would be a good way to? I mean, we could include the column functionality. This is like the first prototype we had with. I mean, it was like pretty basic. Um, we could show the columns either like in a sidebar like this or like this, but if we were to ditch it completely, would we just show all of the things, or just like make our own selection of what we think is important?
Yeah, maybe we should just have a set easy library of columns and just have that, because I feel like I don't know enough about what specific columns people would want to see,
Yeah, I
especially for table
think.
view. I think for the list view, or for like the card view, I think we kind of know what people want to see for like a snippet. But when you're in table view, you're kind of exploring, and you're kind of coming to the list with a problem in mind. And
Mhm.
that problem you might need different data for depending on the problem.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm just like adding columns over here. Um, the thing is, we already have that functionality, and I have a hunch some people who read a lot of books use it to filter, like to add and to remove columns they're not using. Would that be useful for bulk editing? I mean, would those
Mm.
columns be editable? Would you, for instance, be able to show ratings and bulk edit them, and then like if you don't want, maybe you want to add reasons for why you read some books, could you just like remove the ratings and activate that column? I mean, that's how it would work, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like for bulk editing, you would add the bulk edit column or whatever we call it, and then
Mm-hmm.
that would show up as like a checkbox, and then yeah, so it would like show up as a checkbox, kind of like here for every column.
Could we just maybe hide some columns without like having that as a separate control, if it makes sense? I'm thinking out loud. If we had like the table with all the columns, maybe collapse some of them, but
Hmm.
have them always active, so you wouldn't be able to like remove them, you'd be able to just hide them. Or maybe we can just like let people reorder them so they can just drag the columns they're most interested in first.
Yeah, because
How does that sound? Does
because
that sound?
that's because
Yeah.
that's kind of how it exists now. Like we have. Let me jump to where I just was real quick, and we have this option here, um, and this is kind of how your if you jump to where I am, you'll be able to see it.
Oh, there we go.
Um, so this is like, these are the columns that I'm showing, these four in yellow, and I can click and drag these to reorder the columns, or I can add any of these other columns. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
this is kind of the feature we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, being able to reorder these and add, kind of design your own interface. Yeah, I'm down to keep this feature. I think worst case we would like clean up some of these columns and make it easier, but yeah, I think functional wise, I do like this feature.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Then we have it. So maybe, I mean, in the actual like table, would you be able to do this? So instead of opening this and dragging these, would there be an option to actually like drag the columns from like the main interface
Yeah,
without?
we could make it so that the only way to drag them is by clicking and dragging the column headers. I'm down to switch to that.
Yeah, and just activate or deactivate columns from here. I think that might make more
Yeah.
more sense.
What if
It's more
yeah,
direct.
what if like on like here, like within a column there's like an X to remove them, and then at like the end of the table, like the last column, there's like a little plus sign.
Oh
and then
yeah,
and then
yeah,
plus just allows you to add new columns.
yeah, that's a good. That's what I mentioned before, but I didn't have a way like to visually do that, but that's perfect. So you could dismiss them. I was thinking like how you could hide them and then reactivate them, but that makes sense. Yeah, just like X them and then add a new one, and you just, I guess, have like when you click plus something like this, right?
Yeah, or maybe something like that, but in a it could be like instead of with the expand down, maybe it's like a left right thing. So like you click author and it, author goes to your left and a new list of author fields comes up, kind of like in the bottom drawer.
Nice, yeah, that's perfect. That would be really nice. And we remove this. It's way better to like add direct controls instead of like adding this layer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that sounds exciting. Yeah, and easy to use.
Okay, let me see. Let me actually just add a comment here. So, plus, no, not this. Oh god damn it. Plus for adding a new column. X for removing a column. And the moving,
Like reorder column. Yeah.
yeah, the reordering column icon, uh, drag button. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. It's gonna make the table view very very easy and to use. And the bulk editing maybe we would keep by default. I'm thinking, or that's the only one where I
Hmm.
don't like
Yeah.
see
Like
how it would work apart from like having a column. Let me see if it's over here. Column where you could tick. So yeah, let's imagine this is like a ticker, and you'd tick
mm,
or select multiple columns, and then you'd be able to uh, do bulk editing on them. Is that
so yeah,
yeah?
so one thing that was coming up or one thing that came up in the last version was like the reorder feature. It's actually like a separate view. So it's like, we have shelf view, card view, table view, and reorder view. And reorder view is really just like um, table view, but with another column at the front.
Yeah, basically this, right?
Oh yeah, so yeah, this was like the letterbox way. Like if we wanted to make it so that to reorder a list, you would go to edit it rather than doing it here on the visible list.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I do kind of like, yeah, I'm split on it because I mean it would be easier to for the user to never have to go to edit, but I think it kind of does make sense in edit because you are editing the
Yeah.
list. Like,
Well, I'd edit it where it's at. Uh, it feels more natural in a way that, when you'd go to your bookshelf and reorder things, it's kind of like you don't go to a separate editing mode. If we could have the table view and we let people reorder it directly from there, uh, I guess it would be easier than them having to go to the editing mode, edit it, and then come back and maybe they decide, I edited this wrong, so I'm gonna go back to that view. I feel it kind of like would eliminate a step and would make it easier for people who do editing. I'm guessing it's like, yeah,
I
it
think,
could be easier from here if we find like a good way of doing it, like dragging to
yeah,
reorder rows. That would be like the easiest way of doing it.
yeah. So it's just kind of always reorderable if you're the owner of the list and it's a ordered list.
Yeah.
So it would almost be like if it's an ordered list, we would always want to show the list position as a column, and then
Yeah, exactly. And maybe so you'd have the drag to reorder, and you'd also like have this field where you could just change position from here.
yeah, so it's like
And
the rank is just editable, or the position's
yeah,
editable.
yeah, it could even be like a separate column. So if you'd rather not like edit
Mhm.
this, you'd have like a kind of a combo of what we have here,
I
kind of
think
like
I think
this.
like as we're talking about this, I'm remembering more about why we moved it into the edit page, and a big reason is this reason section here, because we have this option for like why each book was added to that list,
Mm-hmm.
and we like right now we have a column called reason, and if you add the reason column to a list, then you can edit the reason a book was added to a list. But I feel like very few people notice that that's there because we've kind of not optimized it to how people do it. So
Yeah.
it's almost like you're going into, like when you're reordering or you're adding a book to a list, it's kind of, yeah, how do we how do we show that in an easy way without using a separate edit page?
Yeah, I think it would be like the same. Obviously, putting it here, people who would go into edit mode would see, oh, okay, I can add reasons. That's perfect. But I'm wondering, like, is there a way if we did it in table view, where we could surface that column so people find it easier. And I'm also thinking about the card view because maybe the card view is a good place to add that reason. So in card view, maybe instead of this would be like reason added. I was trying to think like what would make the card view attractive, and maybe this is it because else it offers no extra info other than what you see on the table view. And of course, we could have it on the table view as well, and maybe by default we activate it and maybe put it like right next to the title, so it's kind of like similar to how it shows over here. Um, I feel like it would be easier to edit it directly over here to not like have to go to edit mode, save, come back to the table view or card view if we put it there as well. What do you think about that?
I think it depends on how we like trigger the change from being a viewer of the list to being an editor of it. Because right now, like, or we would still need some way that makes it clear, like, hey, I'm ready to start reordering this list. How do I start reordering this list, or how do I like add a reason for why a book was added if I'm just at the view step? I feel like putting it here in edit kind of makes it very clear. Like they don't have to know that uh, like if there's a reorder button, or maybe we change the edit button to like edit and reorder if it's a ranked list, and then for
Yeah,
every other book
that's
it's just
true.
edit.
Mm-hmm. But what if you're the owner of the list, we just put fields like an input field here where you could directly add the reason and it would update it like without having to save. I think the saving step is a bit, this is obviously like a more let's say settled experience, and you would like spend time adding reasons and reordering and then saving it. But uh, yeah, I'm wondering if, I mean, yeah, maybe this is cleaner. Maybe this is cleaner. And if we somehow think this is too much, or people are telling us, okay, I just want to bulk edit everything from the table view. I don't want to go like into that separate screen. We can fall back to trying to like integrate it here, but yeah,
Yeah,
since we have this edit screen, I might lean the same way.
yeah. Because I think we did something kind of like what you're describing on our current lists, and I think people have struggled to figure out how to use it because very few people add reasons for why something was added to a list. But that might also be like we might also need something from the book button when you're adding a book to a list to be able to get a reason there as well.
Yeah, yeah, I was just thinking about that. It would like this is one touch point, but yeah, it would ideally be like when you're adding a book to a list, you'd add the reason as well. Hmm. Um, I
But
guess
that's
that would be
yeah,
TBD because uh, adding a reason means adding text, and adding text in the drawer while you have the keyboard open, that's like, yeah, we've seen that that's not ideal. So maybe like it's a separate page or an intermediary step, although we wouldn't want to ruin the experience that you have on hardcover right now, where you can add books to lists so easily just using the button. So um
yeah,
that's a good point. If we have it here, I think that's okay. But yeah, maybe this is a thing we can um do last and see if we get other ideas.
yeah. I'm down for that. But yeah, I'm still like looking back at this. I'm still liking this setup for this page. I think we kind of used what Letterbox does for their lists, and kind of they also do reordering from the edit page as well. And one thing that they have that we're also adding here is that, if I remember right, this add a book button that would use a component we already have that pops up a modal. You search for a book, you click plus on
Mm-hmm.
it, and it adds it to this list. Or I was thinking, what if instead of having it show up in a modal, we just have it like
Oh
at
yeah, just yeah.
yeah, just like a you know add a book to this list.
Yeah,
There's
of
something
course, yeah.
probably
And
not.
we could do this, and maybe we can remove this. Yeah, I always good to eliminate a step. So
Yeah, now would just be like a autocomplete drop down. You add it, and it would add it to the very bottom of the list.
nice, yeah, this is perfect. And could we, instead of the book button, have like a plus button, so it would like directly add it to the list? I'm guessing, like, or would you have to go and add it to the lists through the book button in the drop down?
Oh, so I'm imagining it would be kind of how we have prompt, like adding a book to a prompt.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, I know that.
So yeah, it's like a little like a I'll I'll drop something in here to. I feel like every time I take a screenshot, it's like a race to like get to somewhere before the screenshot disappears, and I have to go find it and find her.
Yeah, I know those
Yeah,
struggles.
I just added it right below where you are.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah, this is perfect. Yeah, exactly.
so nothing in
Yeah,
that.
this is the one I was yeah, I was
Yeah,
talking about. That's
yeah,
perfect.
like nothing in that row would be clickable. Like any or to navigate away, everything in that would just add it. Of course, we could restyle this as a dropdown instead of as a modal.
Nice. Yeah, this is perfect. I just saw this. This is like potentially something we could do after, like, or when you add a book to a list. Um,
Mm,
Maybe this is like another page, an intermediary page, or a popover. We'll have to see. But yeah, this is like book button related. So maybe it's like the next step. Um, Other than that, uh, what would be like major things that we could do to it? Because I think other than like where to put this filter bar, I was thinking maybe we could like design the views like an updated version of those,
Like an
or we
updated
could do
table
that.
view.
Yeah, the table
Yeah,
view and the card view,
yeah,
and well, the shelf view is pretty much there.
yeah, yeah. I think that's pretty much the last step here is like creating a much better table view than the one I think I probably initially created for the the air list. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I'm
aside
guessing let's
from
design that. And yeah, not. I was thinking we could do it directly in the UI because we're using like a library for that table view, right?
I'm not sure actually. I think I like before I was using a library for our current tables, but I think I'm gonna not use a library for it. The One of the problems I had with the library that we did use, which was a React tan stack table, which is a super powerful library. But the problem is that we're kind of moving towards rendering as much as possible on the server. And so if we're just showing like 20 books and then all of the sorting functionality we're handling on the server, all the filtering we're handling on the server, uh, all of a sudden something like tan stack table becomes much less useful to us. Um,
Uh-huh.
so I'm thinking this will just be just listening, like just looping over 10 books in a React array and outputting them as either table rows, card views, or shelf. And yeah, we can get rid of a lot of JavaScript that's loaded on this page. And I think that's probably one of the things I'm most excited about is just like deleting a lot of code.
Nice. Yeah, that's always refreshing. That's perfect. Well, then, let's design it from scratch if we're not limited to a library, because
Yeah.
I have to look at some older designs for the table view. But if we can do it from scratch, yeah, that works. We can make it so that it looks way better in every view, including the shell view. I had like some ideas for that, and I also found a library that makes it like really easy to drag and reorder without having any lag. It works well on
Mm,
mobile as well. So maybe um, we can check that out.
nice.
I'm thinking for shelf view, like that's the most like interesting like option, but I mean that would only work if I'm guessing. So reordering would just be in the editing. We wouldn't like have any reordering going on like in the views, right?
Yeah. At least for the books within the list, we could still potentially reorder the columns in table view, but not the books in the list.
Okay, yeah, that works. Then we can just like keep it as a view for people who just want to see the covers.
Yeah.
I guess that's a browsing experience as well. If you want to find a book that the cover of, you can scan them and okay, this is the book I added to the list. So yeah,
Mm.
that's cool, and it doesn't take up too much space. Like the views can be there. The table view is like the primary one, so we should be good.
And I thought of one other thing on the edit page that might be neat to do, because right now we don't have a great way of how we do this. It's so like you're creating a list. You add a bunch of books to it. You're ready to share it with some people, and uh, what view do you want people to see when they visit this list? Do you want them to see the table view? Do you want them to see the shelf view or the card view?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I was actually wondering if we can like have that in the actual URL and have it as a parameter. So whatever URL you'd share, it would direct you to the specific view. So clicking on the card view would add the parameter to the URL, and when you'd share it, it would default to the card view. But I'm not sure, would that be like feasible or?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm definitely planning on doing that. And so I guess the last question is like what happens at the default one, like at list slash slug before you've edited it anything. How would it look initially when it loads? As because we might have a slash table, a slash shelf, and a slash card, or yeah, card as three options. But the root one, because
Oh,
right,
definitely the table one.
because one of the things is that like if we do like we could allow them to set that in the edit form, like what is the default view you want people to see when they access this list, and then they select table, shelf, or card, and then we just load that view by default.
I'd have it like if they are on the table view and they share the table view, the other person who receives it will see the table view. If they're on the car view, they will see the car view, or if they're on the shelf view, they would see the shelf view, instead of like letting them default. So I think the view option should remain with the viewer. So if someone like uh, wants to share the shelf view with someone, they'd see the shelf view, but they could change it, and that would change the URL. Or is this not the question?
Yeah,
Um,
I'm thinking like if someone's looking at my list of books on hardcover,
mhm.
those are effectively lists I've created to share with people.
Yeah.
And I might have a different intent for each of those lists. Like I want people to view this list as a shelf. I want people to view this list as a table and this list as a series of
Okay.
cards. So when they click
Yeah.
on that list from my list page, like
Yeah.
it's the first list that it's the first view that would show up for them.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if they don't
Let's.
default it, we default it to table if they don't set it or something like that.
We could just. Yeah, that's right. That's a valid issue. You might like have some lists which you just want to like. We could just do this and set like the default view. Oop, and have it here.
Yeah, I think that works.
There was some extra space, so this fills it in really nicely.
Yeah, it's easy enough, and then we don't need to worry about like what columns are shown, and then we can just
Yeah.
set it to the default columns, and then they can the viewer can decide what columns they want to see if they want to change it.
Yeah, exactly. So let me put this here. Maybe it's like table card and shelf. Uh,
Yeah, and maybe if they have list reasons for the items in the list, then we default to showing that column. Otherwise, we don't show it.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, just have to remember to like change the color. But yeah, this is looking good. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. Good shout. You might want some people to land on a default view and then change it if they want.
Cool. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm getting really excited about this feature. Like it feels like it's everything we've learned in the past like 2 years about lists.
Yeah, that's a major thing. I remember when we first like worked on the list page, and that seemed exciting because we did so much. I think this is like if that was we had version 0, we had version 1, which is what you're seeing now. I think like this version 2 really like puts into play many of the things we've learned these
Yeah.
past years. So it's definitely gonna make things easier, and yeah, it includes things that many readers on hardcover told us they want. So yeah, pretty pretty good. When is it finally gonna be live?
Let's see. So right now I'm finishing up some refactoring, and I'll probably start on this as the next feature after that. And I'm thinking like I'm hoping to get it out this month because I'm going on that vacation in April. So my hope is to just wrap it up before then.
Oh
And
yeah, that'd
then
be great. I mean, if we can focus, I can come in and work on the styling and the new thing. So yeah, if you get started on that, uh, we can we can sync, and it would be great to ship it until the end of the month,
yeah,
and it's gonna change a lot of like how hardcover looks because yeah, it's lists all the way down.
yeah. I I have a feeling that once we start getting into like adding these to individual pages, it'll make us want to change those pages as well. Like,
Yeah.
once we update the author page to show this new feature, we're going to be like, now the rest of the author page needs help.
Oh yeah,
And so,
definitely. I mean, it's good that I mean, it's planned, and I think the changes won't be like they will go pretty fast. They're mainly layout changes, so uh,
yeah,
they will make the experience way nicer and feel like way more put together. While on our end, like there wouldn't be like any very hard to code features, just moving stuff around.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Very cool. Well, yeah, this is good. I think we're I think this is ready to start being worked on now. So yeah, I think we're in a good spot for
Yeah, that's perfect.
it.
Yeah, this was good progress. Thanks for everybody who joined and who's watching this
Yeah,
afterwards. And yeah, I guess see everybody next week.
sounds good. Talk to you next week. See ya.
Yeah, see ya. Have a good one.